Welcome back. Today we'll be visiting another subreddit. This was posted by Sugar Soda. Today I messed up by ignoring my husband's phone call and text. I've been married to my husband Mark, 34, for the past 5 years. We have had our fair share of arguments in this time, mainly due to his brother, Alan, who is constantly overstepping boundaries. Unfortunately, my husband loves his brother and will never do anything to damage their relationship. I've tried to get him to realize that our marriage is more important, but he never listens. This morning was like any other morning as my husband kissed me goodbye. A few hours later, I was in the bathroom when I got a text from Mark telling me that he wanted a divorce as he didn't love me anymore. I stared at the text for 5 minutes in shock. I didn't know how to react. I walked out of the bathroom, went to the kitchen, and grabbed a glass and some wine bottles. I just sat on the couch for the next few hours, drinking. My phone kept ringing, and I just keep getting text notifications, but I ignored them. I just didn't want to have to deal with anyone at the moment. I don't know how much time had passed before hearing my husband's car driving up to the house. I prepared to scream at him for ending our relationship like this. When the door opened, I was initially confused when Alan was shoved forcefully through the door, followed by a furious-looking Mark. Before I could say anything, Alan confessed that he had sent the messages and was really sorry. I just broke down crying as a surge of relief flowed through my body. Mark came over and hugged me while Alan sheepishly stood off to one side. Mark assured me that everything was going to be okay and that he will always love me. And then he kissed me before excusing himself as he had to go to the bathroom. Moments later, I heard a blood-curdling scream. I ran after my husband to see what was wrong. I stopped dead in the bathroom door as I finally remembered what I'd been doing when the text had arrived. Hours ago, I watched Mark stood over our 5-month-old baby son, whose body laid face down in the bath. I'm sorry, OP, but things like this happen, especially when you're under stressful circumstances. I'm sorry for the loss of your son, and I know your husband will try to understand because he loves you. Now let's jump into another subreddit. Am I the bottle? This one was posted by Decorative Gentleman. Am I the bottle for stealing my brother's inheritance? First of all, I'm a 13-year-old male. Pretty sure I'm adopted. I haven't done a genetic test or anything, but my 16-year-old brother and I are very different. He's more like our dad, which is to say, perfect in every way, and I'm just a disappointment of the family. It's not my fault. I mean, I try to study. I try not to watch porn. I try not to vape, but I'm flawed. And as Yoda said, trying is for idiots. My dad and my brother, on the other hand, they're basically step-forward robots. You know that kid from school who said things like, gosh damn it, and then followed up with, pardon my French. Yeah. Well, my dad and my brother are both that kid. My brother's a youth pastor at our local church, and my dad hasn't missed a Sunday service since, well, ever I think. I try to do church too, but, you know, Yoda. I don't know. It seems like a big hypocritical circle jerk. Boring books, stupid music, all so you can feel righteous. And then give bunch of angel footbaths for eternity. Awesome. So anyway, our family's wealthy enough that stealing an inheritance is probably going to sound like a butthole thing to do. But hear me out. I do not think that my dad plans to give me anything. I'm not so far up my own butt that I think I deserve it, but my brother sure doesn't. He quotes scripture. The meek shall inherit blah 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 smirk. He'll probably just give it back to the church so all the priests can molest kids inside Lamborghinis instead of Hondas. Well, I think I could spend that inheritance properly. Not necessarily like a senator on women and drugs, but certainly on something more fun than clerical misadventures. That brings me to the stealing part. I started combing my hair, wearing sweater vests, and just playing the part of the deserving son. I'll never be like my brother or dad, but that's our little secret Reddit. Now, my brother loves to talk about heaven. The whole congregation does. So last Sunday, I went to church like a good boy and did them all a favor. I sent them. They screamed and pounded on the bar door as the fire grew. But all I could hear was a dark, resonant, crackling sound. Approval. When the fire department arrived, I was wearing my sweater vest, my hair was combed, and against the aroma of sulfur and ash, not one person could smell the blood on my hands. My dearly departed brother likes to say,
"Blessed are the meek, since they shall inherit the earth."
What kind of stupid person quotes himself during his second coming? But me, my sweater vest, the miracle survivor, the poor child. Well, I look meek as hell. So Reddit, my question is, am I the Antichrist or just some butthole with an ungodly large inheritance? You get 3 out of 5 buttholes, not for what you did to your brother and dad, but because you included other people in your little act. But as for your brother on the other hand, Sugar So Dong in the comments says it best. You're not the butthole, but your brother sounds like a pain in the butt. You're ensuring that you got what was rightfully yours. Now as I think about it, you get none. They wanted to see heaven, so let's open up those pearly gates. Enjoy your inheritance, OP. I like this story from Hackstruck. Empty indoor swimming pools can prove deadly. My mom died inside an empty indoor swimming pool, despite her own advice.
They're death traps.
She said to my brothers and sisters and I many times.
Though there are ladders sometimes.
There were no ladders for her though, just smooth sides, too high to climb and far too slippery around the edges, especially when wet. My mom was good and loved my dad, even though she may turn him into an involuntary sacrifice after my sibling and I was born.
For the good of the family,
she said.
For strength.
She never loved another. She died cold and alone a long time ago. Or so it seems to me. I myself fear much in life. The world is huge, dangerous and confusing. Our time is too short. Every day I could die. Every day I'm lucky to be alive. I tell myself every second is precious. Even in this hellish mess that I'm in, I too have slipped into my mother's ceramic tool. Frantically, I tried climbing the sides again and again. There's a ladder, curled cruelly out of reach. My eyes gazing skywards, stinging from chemical products. I smell death. I taste pain. I could only hear my own legs dull thud until I gave up. I fell upside down, sapped of strength, and now I contemplate my fate. Silly philosophical thoughts taunt my mind as water, hot as lava, started falling from above, searing my sensory organs. Why do people have these huge swimming pools anyway? Why do they like to get wet? Why has my kind over millenniums not learned how to swim? But why, oh why do we possess 8 legs but not a simple pair of wings? Incy Bincy Spider climb up the water spout. Down came the rain and drowned the spider out. I love these little perspective changes. It reminds us that we are not the only ones on earth, and they too have feelings. We have another one posted by Sugar Sold. Hungry. I couldn't help but feel annoyed as I sat there at the dinner table. My wife had once again not done enough food and I was starving. She was trying to help me lose weight, but honestly, I think that I'm in okay shape. I glanced around the table and could see my wife had finished her food and was just scrolling through her phone. My son Danny had eaten everything but his vegetables, as he's like myself and prefers meat. My daughter Emily was sitting beside me and barely touched the food. She was just moving it around her plate with a fork. I kept staring at the meat and heard my stomach rumble. I reached over, pinched Emily's cheek and called her my chubby little princess. I could see the horror on her face for a few seconds. She jumped out of a chair and ran to the bathroom. I emptied the food onto my plates. I could see the look of disgust on my family's face as I continued eating. The seconds of Emily throwing up in the bathroom was quite loud. After finishing my meal, I finally felt full. I was so thankful for Emily's bulimia. That's all for now, guys. And remember, have a nightmarish night.